The 57th edition of the Magical Kenya Open. It's a conversation we're having and the deep impact it has as sport is growing to become bigger and bigger, and also an opportunity for people to earn employment as professionals in the sport. And to talk about that and the vision that the country has, I'm with the Director General of Kenya Vision 2030, Mr. Kenneth Mwiga. And Bwana Mwiga, let's just start with a whole look at how the Vision 2030 is looking at sports. And given that, for example, just over the weekend, 7-2 was in the country. We've got the Magical Kenya Open now, and then after a couple of weeks, it will be the Safari Rally.
Thank you very much. Kenya has taken a very structured approach to sports because sports is a key pillar of the social and economic pillar of Kenya Vision 2030. And in conjunction with the government agencies, we have Talanta Hela because we believe that sports should pay. We believe that young children, young boys, young girls, young people should see sport as a paying profession. So we've been very, very interested in setting up structures because for too long Kenya has been thriving on raw talent. We have raw talent in running, we have raw talent in all sports, but we don't have the supporting structures to make sure that we have a steady pipeline of talent which can perform at the highest level. This is what we did about 4, 5, 6 years ago. We looked at the sports field, the sports scenario, and I realized that Kenya has two or three big international platforms. The first one is this Kenya Open Golf, because it is international, and the viewership of this tournament over the next 4 days, there will be between 500 million to 1 billion people looking and hearing about Kenya. That is priceless, whichever you look at it. The next one is rugby sevens. Raw talent as usual. We are struggling to bring up the structures to make sure that this is a continuous pipeline, but we were able to host as Kenya only last week, Sevens 2, HSBC Sevens Series 2, and we want our Shujaa and our Lionesses to move back to Division 1 where they belong. In about 2, 3, 4 weeks, we'll have the WRC here, World Rally Championship, another billion eyes on Kenya. So sports is big. And it is a big part and a big key pillar of the social and political pillar of Kenya Vision 2030. So we are here today at Karen Country Club enjoying the 57th Kenya Magical Open. We request all Kenyans who are able to come, if you can, come. Expose yourself, expose your child to this sport. If they get interested in this sport, even if they don't take up golf, they will take up another one. And for us as government, Talanta Hela, we are here to make sure that sport pays, because it should pay. And more than that, our sportsmen are ambassadors for this country. They fly our brand to places where we cannot even afford to pay for it ourselves. And finally, we must recognize the role played by Kenya Golf, Kenya Golf Union, the Kenya Ladies Golf Union. We must recognize the sponsors who have come in a very big way. We must recognize the ones who have helped to put in the structures. For example, the Sunshine Development Tour, Charles Gashero and IMG. We must recognize NCBA with their tour. We must recognize the PGK also, Professional Golf Association of Kenya, with their own Equator Tour. So these are the structures we need to strengthen to make sure that we have a steady pipeline of people playing high quality golf every week. And that is why you can find today Njoroge Kibugu at number 14 right now. He's 3 under. This is because Kenya Vision 2030, for example, made a deliberate, spotted his talent and made a deliberate investment in him. And it is paying off. So Njoroge Kibugu is a poster child of what happens when you have structured support for a Kenyan player. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, none of the Kenyan players had sponsors. Kenya Vision 20 stepped in to give in some little money for logistics and everything. We sponsored 15 players, including 2 foreign players. Robson Chinoi, one of the foreign players we sponsored, is now playing the Sunshine Tour and the Asia Tour. Njoroge Kibugu has broken out. He's now in the Sunshine Tour and is moving up. So this is just an example of what happens when you give structured support to our sportsmen. Njoroge Kibugu is our poster child for this, and we pray that we should have about 3 to 5 playing over the weekend. That's our prayer. Okay. Thank you very much.
And just one other question is bringing in the private sector. There's a formula that Kenya Vision 2030 has got in mind: 30-70. DG, you could just take us through that formula.
Let me speak to that. Kenya Vision 2030 by design was never a government project. Government was coming in with 30% to lay the infrastructure upon which the private sector can come in with 70%. So even for this golf, what we want is to make sure that the sponsors come in very strong, and we make sure that we have a sustainable tours to make sure that Kenya goes well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenneth Mwiga. He's the Director General, Kenya Vision 2030. So you can see there is a story, and that means it's not all everything about government, like we like to say, serikali saidia, but we can say serikali tupatie nafasi kuendeleza. So,
70%.
70%. Well, thank you very much, DG. And so we'll be keeping you updated on the ongoings at the current country club, where we've got the Magical Kenya Open, the 57th edition